gentlemen, welcome to
Ron and Fez Show.
Well, boys, I reckon this is it. Time has come to make a choice.
Fasten your seatbelt.
The fastest hour in radio.
Time's a luxury we don't have.
Only on Fez Show.
Hurry it up, nerds. Hurry it up. Don't wait for me. Come on, let's go.
And now, Ron and Fez.
It's the fastest hour in radio. Right here on WJFK, the Ron and Fez Show.
And Fezzy, I say we should not talk about our American Idol last night.
Not talk about it?
Not talk about it at all. We're done with it.
But we're going into the final three now.
Who cares? Who cares at this point after what happened last night?
We got Fantasia, Jasmine, and Deanna left.
And probably the best singer is out.
LaToya went out last night.
Proving once again it's a racist voting system in this country. And I will no longer talk about American Idol.
Can't we still watch it? We're so close to the end.
You have your own TV up in your room. You go watch it up there. But you're not going to watch it down in the Ron and Fez living room. I mean, do you really care anymore after last night? It's just stupid.
The only thing I would care about is that Fantasia won. Because the other two, Jasmine has no business being there.
First of all, for what you just said,
White people are so scared of black people.
her name is not Plantasia.
It's Fantasia.
I thought it was Farina.
No, it's Fantasia.
Well, what's wrong with this? All right, let's move in and let's do our show.
Okay.
That's a stupid thing anyway.
Private Lindy England broke her silence yesterday, saying she didn't want to be in those Iraqi prison photos anyway, and that she thought it was kind of weird what was going on, but she was ordered to. So with Lindy England here, do we have a sadistic soldier or an unwitting pawn?
Oh, Fez, she's Dr. Evil running the whole thing herself. She's a pawn, a stooge, a rube.
Listening to her talk, she actually sounded like, have you ever seen the bit on Saturday Night Live, Appalachian Emergency Room?
Yeah.
She sounded like one of those girls.
That's where she's from. She did not think to herself, I'm a career military person. I'm going to join this thing and finally put my evil plan into use. Here's a girl who was looking for 3 meals a day. She's so dumb. She's got a head the size of a baseball. I guarantee you, if I had 5 minutes with her, Fez, I could have her wallet. She would not know what hit her. When I worked in the carnival, we would see these kind of people walk down the midway all day long, and we'd have them sit there throwing darts until they were bankrupt.
She does remind you of the kid in school, where the retarded kid, where you would get them to kiss the girl and freak out. That's what it seems like in this case.
She is a girl, Fez, just so I can point that out to you. She is a girl.
But, you know, that you could put her in a picture, tell her to point at some naked butts, and then if everyone laughed, she would laugh along with it. And someone else is taking advantage of her because she's 5 months pregnant.
She's 5 months pregnant. She's been over there longer than that. Have they decided who the dad is?
I think it's one of those other guys that's been caught up in the scandal.
I hope it's not one of the Iraqi prisoners. That somehow she got too close to the jail cell.
Not without my daughter. Like some sort of multiple MiGs got her. Donald Rumsfeld defended military interrogation techniques in Iraq.
Yeah, Don, it's working great. You're right. I don't know why we get so offended by the butt pyramids.
So he said he rejected any of the complaints that they violate international rules or may endanger Americans taken prisoner.
Yes, we want to put bags over people's heads and pull their pants down. That's the way a prisoner should be treated. You've got every right to defend them.
Has someone not learned their lesson here about this, when everybody in the world is saying, no, this is wrong, and he's going, no, I think we're right on track here. I think we're doing this by the book.
Yeah, so now we know how high it goes. Fuzzy, when people go, how high does it go? There, it runs right up to this dope.
That lady general, Janice Kapinski, she said, you know, I didn't want any part of this. Yeah, and she's someone who's being reprimanded, and she's caught up in this strike. And
what do you mean she doesn't want any part of it?
She said before, when she was put in charge of the prison, and then the MPs were taken out and CIA brought in and interrogators, she said, I don't want any part of this because there's no military control in this prison.
No, you got the spooks are running things. The spooks are running the deal, Fezzy, and all this stuff needs to come out. It all needs to be talked about. All right, Fez, after what's going on with Rumsfeld, you saw what happened in the New York Times today. Is he a liability for President Bush?
He's definitely a liability. He's a liability, and he needs to resign.
President Bush?
Oh, well, President Bush should, but Donald Rumsfeld should.
Donald Rumsfeld needs to resign.
He needs to go.
Can President Bush win without getting rid of him?
I think not. I think he's really a drag down on the ticket. And now he's the face, Rumsfeld is the face of everything bad in this war. You look at Rummy and you see naked butt pyramids. That's what I do.
I always did anyway. I thought of that years ago.
Now, John Kerry, he answered Republican arguments that replacing Rummy could hurt the war effort by naming a list of replacements, including John McCain, Senator John Warner, and Senator Carl Levin. Any of those he would like.
I'd like any of them to replace Kerry and the president. I would be very excited about that ticket.
See, I don't see where they say you can't get rid of Rumsfeld now in the middle of the war. It would really hurt the effort that's going on. What effort? Who would feel hurt? I don't see where it would make that big a deal. I mean, it's not like Rumsfeld. If someone went in and did that job, they're going to have all the help that Rumsfeld had. They're going to be briefed. They're going to be brought up to date on it. I don't see where Rumsfeld is so necessary to this war effort. And if who could do worse? I wouldn't worry about it all. All right, Fuzzy, the Vatican foreign minister says that the Iraqi prison scandal is a more serious blow to the U.S. than 9/11 was. Is this true or false? I think it's false. I think 9/11 was a lot worse for the United States than the Iraqi prison scandal.
Yeah, but the way we're seen around the world after 9/11, you remember the whole world came to us, identified with us, felt a part of us. Now the whole world is on the other side. I think that's probably what he meant by it.
All right, I wasn't understanding exactly that. But with 9/11, I felt, the attack is, the butt pyramids, that will eventually go away into history. No one's going to, remember the day that the butt pyramids happened, like 9/11.
I think if, you're talking about in our country. Yes, in our country you will remember. Around the world, when they see U.S. servicemen now, they won't be thinking of liberators. They're going to think of guys that you better not get caught by.
An American civilian who was beheaded in the video posted on an al-Qaeda-linked website was never in U.S. custody, and despite the claims from his family that said he was. So what's the real story here?
It's another cluster, Fuzzy. I have no idea what he was doing there. Apparently his family said at one time the U.S. military took him in custody. They're saying, no, we never had him in custody. I don't understand why the guy was over there.
It really makes no sense, especially if it's a case where he just went by himself to start putting up antennas and wasn't part of any sort of coalition group that went in there.
He thought he was going to be on the ground floor of some new economic boom, Fuzzy. And if I was him, I would have waited a while. Why don't you wait till the bullets stop flying and then say to yourself, hey, these people are going to need new DVDs and cable. They're going to need quick access to the Internet.
This is something where I'm sure we will never, ever get the full, real story. With the Iraqis saying they had him first and turned him over to the U.S., and if the U.S. saying we never had him, and his family saying that the U.S. detained him long enough so that they endangered his life. When all this comes out, I still don't think we're going to know the truth on this one. According to CBS News, U.S. officials are worried that the beheading of Nick Berg will cause civilians working on international reconstruction projects to leave Iraq. Well, if it's that unsafe, isn't that a good thing?
No, they need to rebuild Iraq, Fezzi, before we can get out of there, right?
I guess so, but it doesn't seem like it's safe to rebuild yet. It doesn't seem like we're at that point.
But at what point, we have to have this thing rebuilt before we can leave. We have to fix all the stuff that we broke before we can leave. How are we going to do that now if people are afraid to go to Iraq?
But we keep breaking stuff. When we bomb Fallujah and the other cities there, we're still breaking the stuff that we should be fixing at this point. To me, if you're a civilian, you should get out of there. If you don't absolutely have to be there, you should go.
The Bush campaign is going to start using the First Lady in online ads stressing education. This will start with the campaign calls there. W is for women, coalition. Are they using Laura Fez because women don't want to see W?
Yeah, she's the soft side of this administration. People like Laura Bush. If they see her in an ad talking about something nice like education, it makes the president seem a lot friendlier.
Why don't we just elect her then? Let's run her right now.
I don't know if other than Hillary, there isn't a first lady that wouldn't have beaten their husband in a presidential election.
Oh, I don't think Carter's wife could have beat.
Oh, Nancy Reagan, maybe. I'll throw her on the list, too. Now, I like the fact that they're telling women that, they're telling folks that W stands for women. George Women Bush. I don't think that's a strong nickname that you want for your middle initial.
I'm worried it's going to have people teasing him again like in the old days. That's how come he had to move to Texas and just start a whole new personality.
We know what the W stands for, and it's women.
With his dad, it was wussy. Now it's woman. I don't know why people are so tough on these Bush guys.
Senate Minority Leader Tom Daschle says he's upset about the startling meanness in American politics.
Yeah, it is pretty mean out there, isn't it?
Do you think it's meaner than it's ever been? I mean, it's really vicious, but it seems like that's always gone along with, like, presidential politics.
So you're saying it's always been mean, and we're just the same as we've always been?
Yeah. Like when they made Muskie cry, talking about his wife, that sort of thing. I think it's always been pretty brutal. There's been times like Clinton Dole where I think it was a little bit more civilized, but for the most part, I think it's always been fairly mean.
It's the fastest hour in radio. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. It's the Ron and Fez Show.